Welcome everybody. My name is Michele Bruno from Kairos Lighting Design and Photography. Last month I have launched this no-profit project called Spray. Spray is a world map powered by Google, which thanks to the kind participation of the street artists will allow you to walk around the city and have an interactive map with the most stunning graffiti in town. For every spot you will have a geographic coordinates, photo of the street art, and Instagram link of the street artist if available, and as in the following case, you will have a link with the street artist interview which you will able to listen while looking at the graffiti. So let's listen at this month's interview on Spray. Welcome to Graciela Gonçalves da Silva, known in the street art world with the pseudonym of Animalito Land. Recently, Graciela produced a stunning piece of street art in Gothenburg, Sweden. The address is Bredsfjällgatan 46, and that's the reason I'm interviewing her. I know about her that she is a self-taught illustrator and that she attended graphic course in Buenos Aires University. Afterwards, she worked in animation and video game industry before starting street art. Is that all, Graciela? Did I forget something?
Yeah, no, that's quite a good summary.
Okay. I would like to start asking you, I was working with Göteborg municipality, and if there were any differences compared to the place you worked before.
Okay. Well, each place is different. And I've never done such a big piece, and I think that I found the people and from the city, and especially the organizers, to be really, really well organized, and that was really good because I mean, if you have a big piece of work, you need everything to be in place, in time. Everything has to be, very
Sharp.
well planned. Yeah, very sharp. If you do a small piece, you can handle it, but for big walls, you need it to be correct. And they were really well organized, so I felt super comfortable, and yeah, it was a good experience. I'm happy with it.
I'm wondering then, when you do a new piece of street art, do you adapt it to the city or neighborhoods, or you prefer to see it as tabula rasa, as something totally new, disconnected?
Actually, it's curious because it's a little bit of a mixture. Because what I use to create a piece is something that I'm feeling at the moment. So I always ask for pictures of the place because, of course, I can't see the place with my own eyes. So I just get a picture and a feeling that I'm going through. But then I think that when I arrive to the place, usually the piece somehow connects with the people. This is very strange. I don't know how to explain it, but I think that it has to do with the fact that I don't usually speak about a certain place or a certain kind of people or political or religious things. I always speak about feelings. So then when I arrive at the place and I start meeting the people, there's usually a really strong connection.
Okay,
So,
I see it.
Yeah, I think that's the reason, but I'm not sure. It's kind of magical, but it happens. Like for this piece, it happened because I was having this feeling like I was jumping from one thing to another, climbing, because I've been in all these trips and I felt like I had this feeling, and it was kind of scary because I felt a little like it was nice but scary. And then when I arrived and I see that the place is full of immigrants, I felt okay. This totally fits because these people left their homes looking for a better life, and that's not scary too. So they are also jumping, like me, like from one branch to another. That the character of the mural is jumping from one branch to another, like trying to go to a better place. And it's amazing because it totally fits. But
Perfect.
I mean, for me, it comes from a different place, but I think that the feeling is the same. So
And about what you were telling me and then us, you said that creature that is on the branch is jumping from one branch to another. And I remember there is a small paper plane with an art on it. Is that connected to that experience of disconnecting or traveling or sending a message?
Yes, that's a very important part of the picture because this character is kind of alone, but then
Yep.
you see in the background, very small and distant, there is another character in the same
Uh-huh.
situation,
Okay.
and that is another part of this feeling that is that in the beginning maybe you feel a little lonely, but then you look around and you see that there is more people doing what you're doing. So it kind of makes you feel a little better, like safer, like even if you're alone, you're not entirely alone. So,
Okay.
so you know, these paper planes are flying around this character, so you can see that he or she is not completely alone.
Very nice indeed. So this is your unveiling and discovering for us and for me deeper meanings. And talking about creation still, have you experienced forms of collaborative creation, kind of brainstorming with the people of the neighborhoods, of presence of somebody of the block doing your work, so that interacted with the team of your street art?
In this particular case, not that much because of the size of the piece.
Yeah.
I already had pretty much. I mean, the idea was pretty much completed in
Okay.
my head
Yeah.
because I had very little time, so
Yeah.
I could not freestyle or improvise much.
Okay.
But in other cases with smaller walls, yeah, I've had it, and it's really fun. But even if the neighborhood don't participate in the creation of the idea,
Yep.
they're immediately involved. I remember this amazing moment where some kids waved at me from a window and they started throwing paper planes.
Ah.
It was beautiful.
Cute, cute, cute.
Magical moment. Yeah, because they were, I haven't even finished and they were part of the mural, or the mural was part of themselves already. So it was really, really good.
Really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, this is moving. It's moving just as you tell me what happens. I can see with my mind eyes.
And so actually, that very moment when they show the paper
Yep.
plane, it was a moment that I was starting to lose it. You know, you go through these different stages when you're painting. First, you don't know how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Then you get confident, say, okay, I have it under control. And then at some point, you think you're not going to be able to do it. That
Uh-huh.
always happens. You know, you have like all these different.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had a lot of problems with the elevator,
Yeah.
and I was really frustrated. And I was thinking, okay, I'm not gonna be able to finish this. So I was having a really bad time. And at that time was when the kids jumped in with the plane. So it was really, really magical. It was like they were really supporting me when I most needed it. It was amazing.
Beautiful. Then on time.
Yeah.
On time.
They knew.
And about those kids, this is one of your feedback from the city inhabitants. Have you received other from the neighborhood in somehow mail or letter or shaking hands or meeting or trying to talk to you? After this, that is was an exceptional one because they entered into the idea of it.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. I had some less than usual because I was really high in the list. You know,
Yeah.
but it was very far away from the street level. But even though people shouted at me and like give me like thumbs up,
Oh yeah.
then every time I go down to street level, there was always someone approaching and telling me that, yeah, it was a really good positive feedback. Like they liked it. And then there was this special woman who lived just in front of the wall.
Yeah.
So it's what she sees every day when she wakes up.
Yeah.
And she approached me, and it was funny because because she thought I was a neighbor. I lived in the place,
Yeah.
and I think she was concerned about the horns. Like my character has some horns, some small horns
Yeah. Yeah.
ahead, and maybe I think she was worried that it was going to be evil or something.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And I tried to explain her like, no, it's not evil. It's like some part of an animal. Sometimes I like to put animal features on
Yeah.
the characters and make them a little more magical.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started speaking to her, and we became friends. And she even invited me to her house.
Oh, fantastic.
And yeah, so I ended up having a really good friend there. This woman was amazing. She was really kind and interesting, and we spoke a lot. And yeah, so it was a surprise to find this connection because most people usually they say something and they go. They don't
Yeah.
stay a lot of time. But yeah, I became a friend with this woman, and I take a really good memory with me. Yeah.
That's a treasure. That's a treasure. You were saying that there is a process in your art pieces when you in a certain step, you begin to have difficulties, and those difficulties can seem mountains, so you are not gonna over it. I'm curious to know which is the typical process when you begin a new piece of street art.
Okay, so about the process, there is this curious thing that I never do it the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Each wall is different because of the shape, the size, the material. So also the materials I work with, which can be acrylic paint or spray paint,
Yeah.
also change. Like sometimes I only use one or the other, or sometimes I use both.
Okay.
And so, and this for me is exciting because I keep experimenting and learning.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's difficult for me to have everything very calculated because as I don't do it the same,
Yeah.
I never know exactly, the steps. I try to imagine them, but they change. And for example, in this piece I did in Gothenburg, I started with acrylic paint,
Yeah.
liquid paint, and it started raining really heavily. It was pouring really bad, and all the paint started dripping. Can you imagine 9 floors dripping?
Oh. Uh-huh.
Really bad. It was a nightmare, actually, a really nightmare. So and I remember that day I had to stop painting and go back to the hotel because there was nothing I could do. It was really
Yeah.
pouring.
Yeah.
And so I was just staring at the dripping wall, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to change completely the strategy, and tomorrow I'm going to start with the spray can. But that was not my plan.
Uh-huh.
I thought of doing a lot of details and like, yeah, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't risk to lose one more day.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was going to rain heavily the next day, so I had to switch in the middle of the process.
Oh. Okay.
And I've already lost one day because of the strong winds. The first day
Oh, yeah.
was really windy, and the lift has like a maximum capacity of wind
Oh,
that
yeah.
and if it's too windy, it can tilt. So I was not able to paint the first day.
Ah,
So I
okay.
already lost one day for the wind and one day for the rain. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna lose any more days. I'm just gonna go with spray paint, and so I changed the whole process. That I had this thing divided in stages because the thing is that I could not risk running out of time and had to leave the piece looking bad.
Yeah.
So the thing is that instead of, for example, instead of completing the face 100% and then moving to the hand and make it 100%,
Yeah.
I had to do like layers. Like one basic layer of paint,
Perfect.
and then one basic layer of details, and then if I had time, I could add more details. And actually, of course, I ran out of time, and there was a lot of things that I wanted to paint that I didn't have time to
But
paint.
I can assure you it doesn't seem so. Seems 101% over. It really looks perfect.
Just that for for me, those stages, I mean, I know that I learn a lot and it's interesting, but for me, the best part is in the end because you just, it takes you like 80% of the time to get the things in place, the proportions right, and all
Yeah.
the colors there. And then in the last 10% of the time, you just move your hands and do shadows and details and stuff, and it becomes really alive. But that is
Okay.
just the last part, and usually you run out of time for that part, which is the one I
Okay.
like the most. So it's, it's kind of tricky. I always want to have
Interesting.
more time to enjoy that last part. But
Now that we are talking, I was wondering, it is a nine-story building, is it correct?
yeah, yeah,
Nine-story building. How could you have the perception at the whole since you were so close of it? Like, did you go up and down like every hour?
it was, actually what really helps for that is to do the sketch on over a picture.
Yeah,
So it can have this perception, you can look it from really far away because you're looking it in a small piece of paper.
yeah,
So you have this perception of the whole canvas,
yeah,
and then I just used, the building has lines in each floor.
yeah.
So I used that as a grid. So it was
Oh,
easy
smart.
to take the thing from the paper to the building. It was easy because I just translated those lines into the sketch, and then I had this reference. So yes,
Very
but
smart,
really,
very smart, yes. Yes, because
yeah,
what was classical art or more contemporary, Picasso, Guernica, or some little bigger, but this is very huge, like
yeah.
two, three times of it.
It's very important to treat it as a small thing from a distance because actually no one is going to see if I do, I don't know, small details inside of the eyes.
Yeah,
No one ever gonna see them because you see it from
too
far
far.
away.
Hmm.
You have to see, I don't know, a drone to look at the very detail. So I had to be careful about not spending too much time doing small details because you're not gonna see it. But
Okay,
once again, I'm a graphic designer, so I
yeah,
know those things because it's like when you design a billboard for the street and the public is going to see it at a distance,
yeah,
you have to know about this, but not being lost in small details that not just because no one is going to see it, but because it also it makes like the image dirty. If you put
okay,
too much detail on
yeah,
something that is seen from far away, it makes it dirty. So
okay,
yeah, to yeah,
perfect.
it would be a completely different piece if I had to paint the same image in a street level wall, in a 2 meter wall, that
Okay,
people can see it from a close distance.
yeah,
I would see it entirely different. Yeah.
okay, okay. That's some material for a book of street art. How to do it.
But you never really know how to do it. I mean, I'm learning and I'm experimenting. So there are certain things that I know
Hmm.
from experience, but really every time I face a new wall, I really, the first thing I think is, what am I going to do? Because it's really new every time. There is no magic formula or, so it's good to learn, but it's never going to be enough. Like, I
Beautiful,
think there will
beautiful.
never come a point where I just start and say, yeah, I got this. you know? Never gonna happen.
Perfect,
yeah.
perfect. I would like to switch to a more big question. So, internet generation and what is modernity? I know you have an internet site,
Yeah.
Instagram profile, Facebook profile, I guess. How do you feel that internet has influenced the interaction between you and the public?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it just gives you the possibility to reach further. Like,
Hmm.
actually, I jumped on Facebook after painting in the street
Yeah,
because I wanted to keep in touch with the people I met, like other artists artists, all the street artists. So
Yeah.
I decided to make a Facebook profile. But so in the beginning, for me, the interaction was completely direct. I painted in the streets, and the people just approached and told me what they thought about what I was doing, and that was wonderful. And for me, that is the best case scenario. Someone face to face that can tell you what they think. But then, of course, if you go paint in a country and then you leave,
Yeah.
you're never going to go back to the world, so you won't have that chance. So this social media, I think it's a tool that makes it available for people to tell you what they think, like later. When you're already gone, people can still reach you and tell you, and I think that's really valuable. But at the same time, it really was really difficult for me, and it still is. I spend a lot of times not connected, and it's difficult to maintain
Yeah.
the social media because everything is so instant. It's like if you spend 10 days without connection,
Yeah.
and then you try to catch up, it's really difficult because I don't know. I feel more comfortable with the comments than I
Yeah.
do with the likes and all those things that I don't. It took me a lot of time to understand and accept the like button.
Yeah.
So, for me as a public and for me as an artist, in both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I spent a lot of years like not ever liking everything, just commenting because I felt like the like was something like I didn't really understand it. But now I know that everything goes so fast. Sometimes you don't have time to write, so you just push a button and it's like, okay, I've seen it, I like it, but then you paint in the street and you meet people that talk to you, and there is no comparison. So
Yeah.
it's okay. I know it's good. I like it. I'm a pro tech person, but it's still difficult to understand how it works.
That's actually interesting because, of course, we are in a society that's very speedy. We tend to follow up that speed and to align to this will to be synthetic.
Yeah. Because the like button is like a symbol of that.
Yeah.
You have a button, you push it, and it just says for you what you're going to say. Like you don't even have to express yourself. Like the button does it for you. That's great. That's like science fiction.
Yeah, actually, what you spotted now as then a variation, if you have seen Facebook media now added, and I believe others too, added a specification of your like. So,
Yeah.
laugh or crying or smiling or heart to get up more feelings and not only like a flag. Okay, I like it. You are rising in the ranking.
Sometimes I feel scared.
Yeah.
Honestly, scared of all that. But then I just, I relax and I say, okay, I can't be up to date with everything.
Yeah.
So I really, like, I don't know, for example, sometimes I don't know if to answer, or, sometimes like people like or put this is another thing. Sometimes people don't actually comment, but they put an icon.
Yeah.
So it's like a comment, but it's not really a comment. It's like another version of the like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never know how, like, should I respond to that? Should I respond to everything, like, thank you, like, individually,
Yeah.
every,
Yeah.
and sometimes if you really spend a lot of time offline, it means a lot of time to start like
Mhm.
like answering individually every icon or like or stuff. So sometimes I feel like okay, I try to answer, but I'm not gonna be able to be everywhere. And some people might think I'm a horrible person because
Yeah.
sometimes or it takes me a lot of time to answer. But then it's like I relax and I say, okay, like keep up with everything. Some people are going to think that I'm horrible, some other won't, but you do what you can. It's very
Yeah.
difficult, and I think that to be really responsive 100% in social media,
Yeah.
you have to spend 24 hours in the internet.
Yeah.
So when am I going to change?
Yeah.
It's like it's really, and I think that for us, the artists, we have to be the artists, the managers, the social media managers.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to do so many things. Um, Keep up the I don't know. Sometimes I do time lapse, so I take a camera and I
Yeah.
do a recording, and then I have to edit it. So I'm also like my own editor of the material. You
Correct.
have to do so many things. It really is like you need 48 hours a day because you can't catch up with everything. So I don't know. You just try to focus on what's important, and I really trust that I speak with feelings. So if those feelings can be shared in the form of an image, which
Yeah.
is actually what I do, that's enough. Then if people like it or don't like it, or it has 1,000 likes or five or zero, I can't.
Okay.
My mind can't just take anymore.
Okay. So internet as your paper airplane.
Yeah, actually it is. But it's a really good tool, but it depends on what you use it for. It's like everything.
Animation industry. I saw you had the part in it. How much affected your graphic style and how much affected the drawing of you as an artist?
Yeah, I think that the thing is that I just wanted to draw as a
Yeah.
little kid, but there was no illustration school in Argentina, so I just tried to do a little bit of everything to try
Mhm.
to find out what was my place, like what did I like.
Yeah.
And I think that in the end, I just grabbed a little bit of everything and I mixed it. So
Yeah.
I think that what I do now is not 100% street art, not 100% animation. It's like a mixture.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's where the, I don't know how to call it because it's not originality, but it's like your own thing. The thing about animation is that I think I have this thing about telling stories. I like working with characters. This is what I like the most.
Yeah.
So I put them in situations and that they mean something for me, but I like for people to imagine their own stories. So,
Okay.
this is something that I really like to do.
Now that you are telling so, I've seen other works of you, and then looking at them all together, I have the impression that those street art, they are kind of frame of a movie or an animation. So just they really state that is something in the middle between a past and the future. So stuck in a certain process, you are looking at certain frame of a bigger story. Is that just my feeling, or is there something you try to convey when you draw?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like I try to create an environment because if I only do a character floating in space, it's more difficult for people to enter this world. But if I have like a complete environment with a mood,
Yeah.
I use the colors and the light. They really set a certain mood. So people, I imagine them as portals. You can really enter the place.
Oh.
You can imagine that you can really, be surrounded by all that, and that is just tools that helps me to get people inside of it. And I really, really like to exercise the technical skills just to accomplish that. So whenever people tell me, oh, I feel like I could jump inside of the picture, for me that's perfect. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, it's not just to it looks 3D. No, no, it's for you to feel like you can go inside. That's really, I think that's a wonderful feeling, and that happens to me with street art sometimes. I see things in the street and I want to be inside, and for me that's wonderful because otherwise our life in the city would be so boring. Just going to
Yeah.
work, and and if you think about it, if you take street art out of the city,
Yeah.
there's not much spaces like that for us, the adults. Where can you stand and have a moment for yourself, to use your imagination as an adult? I
Yeah.
think the only thing we have left is maybe movies, like the cinema.
Yeah.
But there are not much places and not much public places to do that. So I think it's really important to place this, imagination working point in the city, so that we can exercise it because, it's not just for kids. We really should be able to have our imagination really active. But sometimes as grown-ups we forget. So, yeah.
Well, so this is a key moment when you have that interaction and somebody tells you, actually, I felt something like part of my imagination. I wanted to jump into it. And this is a feedback, I would say. I believe that's beautiful. And I would like to know if there were other key moments in your artist's life.
I think that I grew up in a city,
Yeah.
and I mean, as a kid, I always was drawing. If I had free time, I was drawing. So I was always playing with my mind. But then when I grew up, I live in Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
This gigantic gray city.
Yeah.
Where you spend half of the day just traveling, commuting.
Yeah.
So everything is it's hard, and I think that without my imagination, I would have gone crazy because sometimes when I imagine it would be so different to have grown up in a forest,
Yeah.
that is naturally magic, but my environment was not magic, was gray.
Yeah.
With the rhythm of a big city, which is like you're always in a hurry, worrying about work and pay the bills, and everything is like really dark. But so you have to do something to fight it, because otherwise you will be a bitter person. And luckily, I was always surrounded by really good family, like surrounded by good people. My family are really, I think they are all kind of artists on their way.
Yeah.
Then I've always, like, my biggest influences have been my friends. They all are somehow related to the drawing or animation or the artistic world. So I spend a lot of time like inside these imagination adventures,
Yeah.
with my friends or with myself. Like in Buenos Aires, you spend a lot of time traveling in public transport,
Yeah.
to go to study or to work. So you have a lot of time for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sitting in a bus for 2 hours. You can't do nothing. I mean, it's just all you can do is think and imagine stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, those were the most creative moments. So maybe it doesn't sound so magical, but it really was. I mean, I think sometimes where you're under, bad conditions, the
Yeah.
good come up. And actually, now I'm in a totally different stage because I quit my job and I moved to Europe
Yeah.
for a while. So now instead of just having this free time moment to do art,
Yeah.
I'm like switching to 100% of my time to do art.
Yeah.
And that's completely different because, if you're all day working, thinking that you hate your job, and
Yeah.
when you go out, you say, okay, now I'm free, I can create. So you have this explosion of energy. If you are like that all day, you can't be exploding all day. So it's, the rhythm is totally different. And so it really changed this past year. It changed completely the way I focus and I create. Yeah, it's been a good journey. Like I'm learning every day and I'm learning a lot.
Thank you very much for all your time and for what you delivered to everybody that is gonna listen that. Hope they will have same chance I had to see live one of your street art. I can assure everybody that is a must in everybody's life, and hope you will continue to do a great job and great art as you did till now. Thank you. Thank you.